This is RAND. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Wednesday, June 18, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We'll be having a time for change call tonight, after 9:15 p.m. Eastern. We're going to explain the monetary shift, what's really going on, this thing about, Iran, and clear some things up. Sometimes we make enlightened choices. Sometimes we make unenlightened choices. You want to make sure that you're in a comfortable position with no outside distractions, relaxed into your body, still as a statue, focused on your breath, rising and falling, just your natural breathing. Enlightened choices are naturally born from how we approach the circumstances that we're already in. Now, we may first need to discover that we have to stop trying to alter the outer world so that our inner world feels better. Or we may need to alter our outer worlds to give us access to the things we are really yearning for. With what we truly want, breathe through the challenging feeling we're facing and relax into what cannot relax into on the inside. This practice opens the door to enter into that all-expansive state of pure choiceless awareness, which is the breeding grounds for the most enlightened perspective on reality. Once we're living in an enlightened perspective on reality, every decision we make will have this enlightened quality to it. And the more enlightened decisions we can make, the more this level of consciousness develops, and the more amazing things that spontaneously manifest into our lives. It's good to understand here that what essentially makes one's perspective enlightened is that the mind is at ease. We are tuned into our spiritual essence instead of the circus of thoughts circulating in our head. From this place, every being and situation we encounter is felt through the heart and not just judged and analyzed through the head. We feel everyone for the soul and pure conscious spirit they truly are. We see life as completely fresh, new, and sacred in all its divine ways. And when the mind gets in the habit of seeing everyone and everything is sacred, there is a deep recognition for what's good inside ourselves and perpetual stream of gratitude. And enlightened choices seem to naturally flow from every thought we have. So by surrendering to the idea that everything is sacred, we realize we cannot make a mistake on this spiritual journey through life. We know that this universe is ultimately running the greatest show on earth. We begin to honor this truth, feeling more relaxed about our future, and this helps the mind to see and feel into things more clearly. In deep relaxation, we can feel aligned with the highest outcome this universe already has in store for our greatest possible future. We stop being afraid and worried about what will occur tomorrow, and are naturally spontaneous, quick to love, and feeling on purpose and creative. We are truly living in the now. every moment of our lives. This is a deeply surrendering space to live in. And when we can choose it each day, we become capable of designing our destiny confidently, choosing a life we would truly love to have. When we cannot trust the experience of surrender, we remain stuck in the mind, trying to control the negative or positive outcomes and how they might manifest. This deep level of surrender is the most important quality needed for our enlightened decision-making skill set. The deeper we can surrender, the more confidence we can collect within ourselves and our ability to enjoy wherever we are at in our life. Any type of choice we make from this place can only lead to you creating more love, abundance, and a deeper relaxation into our lives. Please do not worry if you feel lost in your life. We often become lost because the people and society around us are generally truly lost. Most people are not aware of their spiritual nature, consciously living their lives with a sacred, loving purpose. So, of course, they are going to feel lost. People tend to fall into the mind's comfortable habits of unhappy or unhealthy thinking, which then manifests all throughout their lives. How many people have you come across like that? Not by judging them, but observing. Probably be amazed at how many you do. As far as survival instincts go in this life, generally we humans tend to go along with what the group decides. What is that really called? What the group decides. Generally, we humans tend to go along with what the group decides. That is, we call that a herd mentality. A herd mentality, a herd of cattle, sheep, whatever. And years ago, we did an experiment. And it was in a doctor's, a doctor's office, waiting room. And some of the people were informed, to do, here was the movement. So you have all these people, they don't know each other. And so a certain group of the people, we briefed on the fact that we want you to stand up every so often. Just stand up. Just stand up and act like you're listening to music. Okay? So you picture that. You stand up at certain times. And then there's the other group isn't informed. They're just there. Okay? And they're going to go see the doctor. So here, you picture this. You've got a group of people in a waiting room. So one stands up and starts, like they're hearing music. Sits down, stands back up, sits down, stands back up. Well, the other folks that don't know what's going on really don't pay much attention to it at first. They're looking at magazines, But then they start noticing that, there's several people that are standing up, sitting down, standing up, sitting down. Then the people that don't know about this start looking around to see if there's any cue or why are they doing that? Okay? Now, imagine the majority are doing this. There's a few that aren't. After a while, the people became uncomfortable. They felt like they should be doing it because everybody else is doing it. So they eventually started doing it, like clockwork. So everybody was standing up and sitting down. This is a herd mentality. This is what the planet has, a herd mentality, which means that eventually people will just follow. And that's it. Whether it's to be to slaughter or whatever. And I know that sounds kind of strange, but we should be aware of that. So to choose to not be. This is why you've heard me talk about you'd rather be a black sheep, and I don't mean that in a negative way. Society tabs it as negative. Oh, they're a maverick, they're a black sheep, they're this, they're that. Because they don't conform. They're not interested in conforming. It has nothing to do with the people around them. They have decided that they're not going to conform about it. They just aren't. They're not angry, they're not, vengeful or anything. They just made the decision not to. And that's a good thing. And the more black sheep that we have in society, the better things will unfold. Because then you have free thinking. You don't have program thinking. It's a difference. There's program thinking and free thinking. Free thinking is when you know that you are sending out thoughts, and those thoughts are originating from within you, not outside coming in. Okay? Program thoughts are those 60,000 thoughts that slam us every day over and over again, or repeatedly. We do know that most of the thoughts on the planet are not ours. We were programmed with other people's thoughts. Every one of us were. And we continually are programmed by other people's thoughts. This is why as a species, we kind of do have a herd mentality. We follow. We don't really look at it from the perspective of saying, I'm not going to follow this. And you're not being obstinate. You just decided you're not going to follow it. That's all. Period. Okay. You guys they're going to jump off the cliff. I've decided not to. It's as simple as that. And now there are people that will say, I just don't feel comfortable anymore following the cue, the mass direction in society. I'm going to go over here and do my own thing, which is great. But the commitment has to be really strong, because what would happen if you had a bunch of cattle or sheep they're going to slaughter, and they go down the runs, and they all of a sudden decide that they're not going to go? Well, you have to use the prods, the electric tasers is what they are. You tase them so that they'll start running to the main house through the chutes. And because they're afraid and it hurts, it's conditioning. So they condition them into the slaughterhouse. What do you think happens with us? We're conditioned. We're programmed. We don't know it. It's not like, we're being programmed today. It starts from baby, and it goes all through life. And your perception is different than the one next to you because of the fact that you're perceiving things based upon other people's thoughts. That's the way it is. No matter how you look at it, you perceive things based upon other people's thoughts. And those thoughts have been coming in for a long time, your whole life, and continue to come in. Now, what happens when you decide that you say, I am not going to follow that anymore? Then you step into the realm of free thinking, because you've decided not to follow the norm, whatever that is, the norm. And it's like, well, one would say, well, isn't that rebellion? In a way, you're just not conforming anymore. You're footloose, fancy-free. You've freed yourself. Nobody else has. To do anything with that. You free yourself. You begin to realize that, and see, that opens it up for you to look within and to look at the fact of your ego, right? Ego mind. We all have that. None of us are exempt from the ego mind. And then we also know the difference, we have the heart mind. And like in these meditations, we go into heart-mind. That's what we do. It's when you focus on the now. Still as a statue. You're really not thinking. You're just being. That's it. You enter that silence. That's what you're looking for. And the silence is actually the doorway to the God, the pure consciousness that you are. That's where you find the God, in silence. Not in, loud noise and confusion. It's totally opposite. And then when you begin to connect with the God that you are, everything miraculously shifts. It's like turning on a dime in a split second, fast as the blink of the eye. You're shifting, but you're aware that you're shifting. You're not in the dark about it. It's not a bunch of fog about it. You've made the decision to shift. You've made a decision to look at all your parts, your bad ones and your good ones, dark ones and your light ones, and embrace them all. You are going in to forgive whatever you need to forgive of yourself, once and for all, to clean it all out once and for all. And if it does come back, do it again. And keep doing it till it doesn't come back. So it just disperses itself. In any situation that mind conjures up, because it's a problem, you address it. And it'll vaporize. It really does. It vaporizes. If it comes back, you do it again. You're not ignoring it. A lot of people will ignore that. They'll kind of push it. Okay? And they ignore it. But when you get to the point you say, I don't need to ignore this stuff anymore. I want smooth transition. I want the enlightened. I want to dip into the enlightenment, which is within us, all of us. We're all really enlightened beings. It's just that, unfortunately, we do not know that. And we're all omnipotently powerful beings. Unfortunately, we do not know that. If we believe we do, we don't have the confidence, trust, and faith in ourselves. We don't have that 100% confidence, faith, and trust. Because the ego mind always steps in, and then you have doubt. Right? If you doubt, once you start doubting, it's over. You're not going to pick it up. You have negated it. The universe isn't going to be able to manifest it towards you because you negated it by doubt. Doubt is what? Ego mind. So when you do doubt, you know it's coming from ego mind. You might say, why am I doubting this? There's a reason for me to doubt this. But I'm doubting it. So it's ego mind. Stop. You're not in control. You're not in charge. So we take it upon ourselves. We decide to do this. Nobody decides it for you. But you decide, you know what, I'm going to discover for myself once and for all who and what I am. Because there's a lot of people that it's kind of fractured in pieces. There's a lot of people that will look and say, I know I'm not this body, but I'm not sure what I am. And then one might say, well, who cares? Who cares what you are? You just live life and then you leave life. Well, that's a perspective, and so a lot of people live that perspective. That's just fine. Not a big deal. But in order for us to evolve, it is up to us to decide to evolve into spiritual, not material physical. Because the material physical is created through the spiritual, not vice versa. And so when we're actually content and at peace, we don't need a reason to be, we just are. That's when things open up for us. We're not really, you ever notice that? Have you ever done it where you focused on something? You don't need to tell anybody. You're focused on something that you would like. Okay. And it's great that there it is. And then after you have sent that thought out, it doesn't take long before the ego mind kicks in and you start having second thoughts or doubts. And you say to yourself, that's the ego mind. And what you do is you just put that big, huge neon stop sign up and say, stop, ego mind, you're not in charge. And it fades out. Every time ego mind tries to come in, same thing. I've done it 100 or more times in one day. So you doubt it. And you know what? We all, some of us don't even, I don't doubt things. We all doubt. We're not exempt from it. But to know, to be aware of it, then we just shift gears. So now I know if I doubt this, it's not going to come. And it won't. See? But see, you're not disheartened, disappointed, or let down because you haven't performed attachments or expectations of what you have sent out. Because when you do that, that means you're in the ego mind. That means you'll suffer. Because you'll get disappointed. You'll be upset. Be let down. Because you had expectations and attachments to whatever it is or whatever it was you were sending to manifest. So when we go along with a group, if we just get along with others, right? How many of us just want to get along? If we just get along with others, this is what a lot of people think. We won't get cast out and die. So we might end up allowing decisions to be made for us by the whole. If you're someone who tends to fall into this sheep following pattern, do not fret. It really isn't big. There is soon coming a new experience of life that is profound and amazing. There is a huge opportunity to make that decision to go deeper into your unique expression and give a voice to that creativity that wants to give birth inside you. It's not that following a group is wrong. The most important thing is that you feel free, empowered, and happy with whatever decision is being made through you. You just you make sure you do not have any regrets on your deathbed. A life lived without regrets is a well-loved life. I can't tell you how many people I have talked before or just before they left. Okay? Meaning leave the body. On this planet they call it death. Leave the body. And usually, not all the time, but the majority, they kind of go, and you can see it in their eyes, and they kind of go, you say, okay, so what's unfinished for you in this life? And they say, well, there's so many things I wanted to do. I thought I had a lot of time to do them. I was in such a hurry, running off here, running off there, got really so-called tied up with things in my life. I had a lot of expectations. I had a lot of attachments. And things became very stressful for me. Okay? Not necessarily in those words, but I think you get the gist of it. But stressful for me, and I got waylaid and sidetracked, and I really didn't get to do the things I wanted to do. Because, and you kind of say, well, you created that. That's not a negative, but to be aware at the end run of this life, you didn't focus on it. You had doubt. You had fear, worry, stress, anxiety in the ego mind. It is absolutely imperative that eventually all of us are going to master our ego mind. Okay? Whether it's this lifetime or the next or the next. All that means is that you end up the ego mind becomes an ally. You direct it, it doesn't direct you. And the way you're doing that is because in these meditations, the information I share is actually a blueprint on just exactly how to do it. It isn't confusing. It shouldn't be at all. Is that the summation is okay, I know ego mind. I know what it is. And I know the only way that I'm going to master the ego mind is to leave it alone. Okay? Now, that doesn't mean that the majority of us can leave it alone, and if we do, for any length of time. But it's to understand. You know, when you comprehend something, it's like if you have a problem, you comprehend the solution, you put forth a solution, and the problem is gone. Most of us, just like with problems, right? We don't know what to do because we don't think in the direction of solution. It's like all of the illnesses and everything. There is a solution. Is to apply something that eradicates whatever the illness is. Poof, done. But in most cases, what do? We get caught up in what they call treatment. And what does the treatment do? Well, you know, it'll help in some areas, but the long run is not good. So instead of solutions, we fill it up with more problems. So you imagine that. We build up problems and more problems and more problems and more problems and more problems. But we never exercise the solutions. Because we get too tied up, too caught up in the race. Because you probably didn't know this, did you? That this is a race on planet Earth? It's always a race. Have you noticed that? We're not talking about skin color, obviously. But it's always a race. Race for what? Race to be the most powerful nuclear source on the planet. Race to be the most powerful AI source on the planet. Race so that you can have a lot of money in life. Hurry, race. You don't care to lose. You want to win. Got to race. Got to get there. Got to climb that ladder. You got to run. When you look, now take a look. You can visualize this at any time, but look at a busy city. Take New York. Usually we take New York and take in the rush hour and the lunch hour and everything, downtown New York City. Okay? What do you see as an observer? What are you watching? Well, you're seeing a lot of reflections of us scurry around like insects, scurrying everywhere. Most of the time when you look at people, they look like they're lost. They're running and rushing somewhere. Well, you got to get a bite to eat, and then when you do go to eat, you rush that. You don't enjoy and savor the flavor. You just rush it, and then you rush back, and then you have digestion. I mean, it is really amazing the stuff that our species creates for itself. Isn't it amazing? And then every once in a while, some of us go, it's like a light bulb goes on, or a Christmas tree lights up in the head. And we say, you know, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not. What aren't you going to do? This. What you're doing, everybody else, that's their business. That's fine. But I'm not going to do it anymore. What are you going to do? I'm going to kick back and I'm just going to float. You know, when you look at the water, and let's just say you're at a community pool, which I would never be caught in, but a lot of people have community pools. They go to community, and you got all these people splashing around and everything. Or in a lake, you know, everybody's in a hurry for something. So you have people swimming by and splashing and making noise. And all you're doing is floating. You're not at one bit motivated to hurry, rush, crawl, and just swim and just belly crawl all the way to the shoreline. You're just going to float. There's a lot to be said about that. I've used the analogy over and over again through the years. You come up to a river. And you've all seen rivers with rapids and everything. And you see the tube, the rafts, whitewater rafting, okay? You see everybody digging and with their oars and trying to get upstream, you know, going against the current. You know, that's the challenge in whitewater rafting, going against the current. You sure as heck wouldn't what? Let the current take you wherever it's going to take you. Well, there's boats there. There's the rafts, right? There's the blow-up rafts, and people are getting their gear on. There's only a few. There's a few. They're like lounge boats. There's a space. You just lean back, and you've got some padding for your arms, and you just kick back and you push the boat off from the shore, and then the current picks it up and moves it. Just takes it wherever it's going to take it. How many of us would get in those boats? Not many. Because why? Because the ego mind is mostly in charge, and the fear would kick in of not knowing where you're going. The unknown. See, there's no way you would get in that boat because it's the unknown. You'd say, where's the oars? You don't need oars. You need oars with life? No, not really. You just create. You know that whatever it is you're creating is for you. And so when you get in that boat and it go down the river, the currents take you. Current's strong enough. Are you concerned to where, you know, you're going to hit the shoreline and get off? And do you know where you're going? No. Do you really care? No, because you know it's going to be phenomenal. That's your confidence. That's your trust. That's your faith in yourself and the universe. Doesn't matter. It's literal. It isn't figurative. You are an omnipotently powerful, supreme, manifesting, abundant being that doesn't ever die. That's what you are. So why would any of us be stressed out and fearful because we're in this boat, pretty good current, pulling us downriver, and we have no idea where we're going, and we have no oars? See, there's not many people that would do that. You say, boy, they're nuts. Look at those people getting in there. There's no oars or anything. They're probably going to drown. And see, those are the ones that find it. And what is it? The God. They discover that there's never been anything to worry about. Zero. And when we do, we create it for ourselves. Doesn't matter what it is. See, and you imagine that we don't know how powerful we are, so we create things all the time, and we don't know that we were creating those things, and we feel it's coming from something else. Something else is creating it, not us. We've got the biggest playground ever. It's called life. And we're all omnipotently powerful, so we can create and attract and manifest anything we choose in this life. But the programming that we receive is all wonky. The programming is just not good at all. This is because we repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat. All of us, lifetime after lifetime. We're talking thousands of lifetimes. And why do we repeat? Well, it's not difficult to figure that out. It's because other people program us with their thoughts. What do you think Mom and Dad does? You're programmed with their thoughts. How did they get those thoughts? They got them from their mom and dad, and then their life experiences, and other people. This is why I always say that we're all students and teachers, every one of us. Doesn't matter what, lifestyle you have. It doesn't matter what you're doing. We're all reflections of each other. Some people you really like, but you don't know them, and you meet them for the first time. You just like them. You spend hours talking with them. Why? Well, because you see reflections of you, of the parts that you like about you. Now, you come across other people, you go, I can't wait to get out of here. I just don't like this person. I don't know them, but I just don't care for them. And why is that? Because they're giving a reflection off of parts of you that you don't like and you don't care to visit. That's why. It's like, what do most of us do? We marry people that have similar interests and qualities. That's what we do. That's comfortable. Feels good, right? Instead of marrying somebody or being with someone, let's just put it that way, being with someone that doesn't like what you like. So what does that do? Pushes you out of your comfort zone, and it motivates you to try things you would never try and never do had they not appeared in your life. You see what I mean? So a lot of times when you get with somebody, the more opposite they are, the more you learn. Think about that. Isn't that interesting? But because we're creatures of habit, we socialize and interact with people that remind us of the good things that we like about ourselves, which is positive. We just don't like being around people that remind us of the bad parts of ourselves, which is pretty common. But instead of doing that, we face it and say, okay, so what did they show me? What are the things they show me? Because I'm irritated with them. I never met them before. What are those things that caused me to become irritated and not care to be around them? Well, the answers come in. Say, this is what it's called when we're talking about commitment. It is in this life you commit for the rest of the life. And what is the commitment? The commitment is to go within, meditate on a daily basis, like we do every day. And we're heading towards 8 years of doing this, 365 days a year. There's got to be something to it, don't you think? Has anybody out there on the internet done it? No. It'd be great if they did. Then you just have that much more people. So you've got thousands of meditations covering everything across the board that you can pick up and listen to whenever you choose. That's the whole reason. So all those thousands of meditations out there covering everything across the board, how do you go within? How do you find out who and what you are? What are your perspectives? How do you master the ego mind? It goes on and on and on. It is a roadmap. It's a blueprint. It's about spiritual evolution on this planet. And boy, I'm going to tell you, we have to have that. For this species to survive and thrive instead of die off, we have to have this spiritual this blossoming, blooming. And the only way to do it is for every one of us to decide that. That's it. There isn't any galactic flash. I'm going to tell you that. I hate to burst your bubble on that. There's no galactic flash. So if you want to get technical, you're the galactic flash. Okay. You awaken yourself and the God within you. Boom. That's it. No one's going to do it for you. Yeah, you might get a little nudge in life that will wake you up a little bit. Something will happen, and boom, you just immediately start going, This is not what I'm interested to have in my life. Period. You begin to realize that why are we here? We're here to discover who and what we are in these bodies, and we enjoy our lives. When wouldn't you like to enjoy your life? Know your thoughts. Send your thoughts out. Have 100% confidence, faith, and trust. Master the ego mind. And you know what the ego mind is. It's an illusion. Because God's created that illusion. Why? So we could learn and achieve higher levels of divine perfection. That's what this is all about. It's a game. This is a playground that we create for ourselves so that we can progress as gods. Okay? And the material physical life is one heck of a phenomenal way to do it. I'll join you in the meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still, relaxed into your body, focused on your breath rising and falling. Today, speak what cannot be spoken. Listen to what you cannot hear. Sit with the feelings you cannot bear to feel, and see what your eyes are unwilling to watch. Simply practice being with what you are resisting. And notice the strategies you have to try to control and manipulate your experience of life. Notice what you demand from yourself, life, and others, and explore how you can face all your demons inside today. This is your day to become a spiritual warrior and enjoy the experience of transcending all these illusionary thoughts, feelings, and experiences that you cannot be present to. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night and the following morning. We'll return here tonight, June 18, 2025, after 9:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our Time for Change call. And Thursday, June 19, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our Global Guided Meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitude at all times. No matter what's going on out there or within you. Open your heart and allow the magic to flow in.